This highly valued altcoin that I found that I believe will make crypto millionaires this cycle is absolutely shocking. This is an altcoin that I've never talked about or shared on my channel or any other social media platforms. The growth, the market cap, the arbitrage, the use case that this altcoin provides is absolutely insane. And my track record for finding these altcoins pretty early is pretty good, as my community already knows. Not to beat a mallet over your head about this altcoin, but I have to talk about it. You already know what it is. It's a research coin. Got it at $14.7 million market cap, okay? Bought it last year, July 26. And if we look at the chart, it's currently sitting at a $57 million market cap. Got up as high as $143 million in market cap, and just recently was up at over $86 million in market cap just a few days ago. Another altcoin that we talked about pretty early in this cycle, I know Chainlink's been out for a few cycles now, but you can look at January 3rd, 2025. We talked about Chainlink on one of our altcoin portfolio videos, and when you scroll back the chart, Chainlink was only sitting at a $14.7 million market cap. Now currently sitting at a $17.4 million market cap, which was a super easy 20 to 25% gain on Chainlink. And in the same video, we also talked about Ondo Finance. You can see here January 3rd, 2025 at the bottom left-hand corner here. And if we go back on the chart to January 3rd, 2025, it was only sitting at a $2.3 billion market cap. It's now currently sitting at just under a $3 billion market cap, which is an easy 30 to 33% gain from that time. And that just isn't it. We also have to talk about which I talked about on June 19th, 2024, which you can see here from this chart is only sitting at a $384 million market cap. And as of right now, Aerodrome is up over at a $1.2 billion market cap, which is roughly an easy 400% gain on your money. Now, all of these altcoins have much higher to go, but I just had to give you a bit of proof about my track record and how I call out altcoins and how early I get to these altcoins. And when it comes to calling all these altcoins early, a fun fact about Aerodrome, I actually got into Aerodrome at the beginning of 2024 at around a $7 and $11 million market cap. Now, if you're watching this video, I probably assume that you're unsure about your altcoin portfolio, or you're just trying to update your crypto portfolio before altcoin season. So watch my perfect altcoin portfolio video. I'll leave it up on screen. Watch it after this video and just copy me. Now, getting into the altcoin today, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite altcoins, and I'm going to break down a plethora of reasons why you should be paying attention to this altcoin, okay? This altcoin goes by the name of Spark. Now, this is a newly released altcoin. It only released around 2 months ago. And I decided to share it with you today because this is a decent time in the market where we've had a little bit of a dip in Bitcoin's price. So it's going to be a relatively good time to pick up this altcoin. And you can probably just watch the charts and get a little bit better prices if you'd like to as well. But considering where the potential of this altcoin sits, I don't think you really want to do that. But anyways, now in terms of what Spark actually is, you can earn up to 4.5% on your stablecoins. Now, I've been talking about this a lot the last 3 to 4 videos because I believe now that we're starting to see a shift in utility and we're starting to see a move back to utility in the altcoin space and just the crypto space as a whole. So I don't see a lot of hype around meme coins like we did last year in 2024. I think we're going to see a big push and spike over into real world assets, and stablecoins obviously getting regulation makes it more of a viable option to make money a lot quicker than you might see in other niches and narratives I've talked about on this channel, such as AI and things like that. I want to bring you these things early enough so you have time to build a bag on them, okay? So earn 4.75% on your stablecoins, maximize your stablecoin yield with transparent rates, withdraw USDC, USDS, or DAI at any time with no slippage or platform fees. Now, if you can look up to the top left-hand corner, you can look at it has a couple different things, right? Only 2 things that you really need to be focused on. Spark Lend, which is where you can borrow and lend the Spark token and different assets. And you can also have savings as well, which is kind of like a yield-bearing platform. Now, before I bore you to death with all the useless jargon, okay, let's get right into the important parts of why you should be paying attention to this token. You can see here that in the savings TVL, they have about $2.39 billion locked on this platform. And we're going to get into the price and the arbitrage that I talked about earlier on this token, okay? You can see here that over the last 30 days, people have been earning an average of 4.66% in yield, which is pretty good. That's higher than most savings accounts. If you go into any traditional bank, they say you can get up to 5% in savings. It's hard to find as much security as this when saving up to 5% in savings. Mind you, with no fees, as you can see down here, and also no slippage, which is pretty insane to me. Not to mention, you can just compound your growth as well when it comes to a lot of these savings, which is actually pretty cool. And one thing that's very important as well is that it's non-custodial, meaning like they're not locking up your assets on this platform and holding you for ransom. You can take your assets off this platform at any moment if you choose. And you can also look down here where you can watch your growth and track your growth on this platform. So we're actually going to get into that as well just in a moment. Now, this is what the savings tab looks like, and you can actually track it over the last year or so. And you can see that savings have roughly stayed around the 4% range, which is more recently, all the way up to the 12% range. So you can see these yields fluctuate at a pretty decent range. And the part that's interesting to me is that you're seeing them fluctuate to more so to the upside versus the downside. Once we've hit that 4.5% range, we've stayed pretty flat, which is good. So you know that that's kind of like your baseline for what you could be expecting to make on your money, depending how much you decide to deposit. But you can also see it go up to as high as 12.5%, which is pretty decent as well, right? 197K users, which is a pretty good user base. You also, like I talked about before, have 2.3 billion in TVL. Now, you also have a ton of liquidity, which is why you're able to get in and out of trades with no slippage at a pretty decent rate. But we are not done yet. Now, the first thing I want to put your attention towards is that this is a borrowing and lending part of the site. And you can see up here that borrowers and lenders actually make even more money on the borrowing and lending side. And you can see that there's actually $5.6 billion in TVL added on top of that 2.3 billion for the savings portion of this website. So they have over close to $8 billion locked in TVL on their platform, which shows a ton of interest. A ton of interest. And we're going to get into the arbitrage with the price and the market cap of this token as well, which is why I wanted to bring this to you today. Now, this obviously works pretty similar to Aave, and Aave is obviously one of the biggest lending and borrowing platforms that we have in crypto. You have the World Liberty Fi buying up a lot of Aave and staking a lot of Aave. You have a lot of arbitrage between Aave's market cap and their locked TVL in their platform as well. If you watch my channel for a long time, you know that I want to say 1 for 1 when it comes to market cap and in terms of TVL. I feel like a value of a true token is their TVL, and Spark's market cap compared to their TVL is way off, which we're going to get into. Now you can see very clean and simple to understand. You have the amount of loan to value. It shows you a conservative rate, a moderate, aggressive rate. Obviously you can earn more percent depending on how aggressive you want to be and things like that. And you can also choose which assets you want to deposit and what you want to borrow from. This is very, 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 very simple. Now, just to give you a brief breakdown and description of the Spark token, you can look here on DeFi Llama. And DeFi Llama is a site where we go to check a lot of the background stats of any particular token or ecosystem. And if you look at Spark, they have a TVL balance of $8 billion. $8 billion, and they reside mostly on the base chain. Close to $600 million of that money is on the base chain. You can see their TVL growth since inception has been growing consistently over time. So what makes me think that this is going to slow down? I think that this trend is going to continue, and we haven't even got into an altcoin season yet. You can see that the growth of TVL on chains has been growing, right? You can see the USD has been growing, the USD value, right? The fees they've been earning. You can see the USD inflows on the platform has been growing. You can see the token inflows on the platform has also been growing. Now, to break the seal, because I've been hiding this the entire time, Spark is only sitting at $111 million in market cap. $111 million in market. Did you not just hear me say before that they have $8 billion in TVL? The arbitrage here is immense. It's one of the best I have ever seen, ever. This is one of the best opportunities that I've seen in a long time, which is why I want y'all to do your own research, not financial advice, but do your homework and throw a little bit of money at this token, okay? Now, I want to do some simple moon math for you, okay? We're going to put $8 billion in here. So we have 8 million, 80 billion, 800 million. So that's 8 billion. I want you to divide it by the market cap, right? Which is going to do flat base numbers, right? So $111 million. You're looking at a potential 72x. If you're just looking at a 1 for 1 in TVL growth and market cap, a 72x. And I've already talked about tokens on this channel like Wonderland Memories in 2021 that were completely vaporware, reaching over $1 billion in TVL growth and absolutely going bananas. And that was completely vaporware. It was a complete pyramid scheme. This has real world utility. Stablecoin regulation is already here. The biggest asset managers on the planet are talking about stablecoins and tokenization. You have a platform that offers this through both various opportunities as far as borrowing, lending, and yielding and saving your money via stablecoins. They offer it on a ton of different platforms as well, right? Different networks, and the biggest ones I might add. And the TVL sitting at $8 billion. I can't stress that enough, man. I can't stress that enough. When I told you last video that I was going to be bringing you one of my potential biggest bags, so I'm going to be buying this token, a lot of this token, and it's sitting at $111 million in market cap. Easy 72x, and that's just moon math there, right, for you. Just a little bit of moon math, okay? Now, one of the biggest things I want to bring your attention to is that the token unlock schedule is favorable as well. You can see here from this point forward, this exact day, all the way through the potential bull market, right? Because this goes into summer of 2026. I don't expect the bull market to last all the way until then. You don't have roughly virtually any more tokens being flooded onto the market. So you're not going to get diluted either. This is why I am so adamant about you doing your own research. Because if the bull market, I'm not saying this is a fact or guarantee, but I don't expect the bull market to go past 2026 spring. I honestly am more so leaning towards the end of this year, but if we don't get rate cuts and all those things, we could definitely leak into 2026 for sure. And you're looking at, you don't have to face any dilution at all until summer of 2026. So to jump on over here to some of the fees that Spark is earning, you can look here over this inception of time. They've had pretty stable inflows when as far as fees and that they've been generating and revenue that they've been generating, right? And this is only going to grow because remember, they have $8 billion locked, right? So the amount of fees that they're going to be able to make is outstanding, right? You're looking at over the last 30 days, they have $6.8 million in fees generated. And this is for a new company, $83 million over the course of since inception. And this token has only been out for 2 months, right? The platform is fairly new as well. And they're already generating millions and millions of dollars in real revenue. That's important when it comes to investing in any token. And you can also take a look over here at Spark's chart. It looks exceptional. It found this floor here and it's just stair-stepping upward. This is something that you want to see from any token that you're investing in. It's showing strength on the support levels. So I don't see this token going much lower, right? Now, off of launch, just goes to show how much liquidity is going to be flowing into this platform and this token because they're already listed on Binance, Mexi, 2bit, BitGet, Bybit, Binance, Coinbase Exchange. Like, what more do you want from a token that's newly released? Not to mention that's already on ETH and Base. You're not going to find any trouble getting new investors to invest in this altcoin come the top of the cycle. Heading over to Cointelegraph, they posted an article around April 30th, 2025, talking about stablecoins on track to reach $2 trillion in market cap by 2028. And this was from the US Treasury, one of the biggest government entities on the planet. You also have Donald Trump talking about stablecoins and how it's going to facilitate the US dollar globally and make it accessible to anybody across the globe, which is huge. Like for me personally, I'm Jamaican, right? That's my background. And anytime I go to Jamaica and people ask for money or they're looking for tips as far as like if you're at a resort or something like that, what is the first thing that they're asking for? It's US dollars. It's always been US dollars. You go 50% of the places around the globe, they trade their assets in USD or they want US dollars as payment. That's just how it is. And this is going to make it a lot easier once we have the infrastructure built out globally for blockchain technology and we bring everything on chain. You're going to see the US dollar continue its reign and dominance via stablecoins, at least for the foreseeable future. Now, looking at some of the top stablecoins that we have in the space, obviously Tether reigns supreme and they're the dominant force, right? They're massive in Asia as well. You have USDC, which is Circle. This is more so in the Western countries where we use USDC a lot more. I mean, I use both, but anyways, to each his own. And then you also have Sky down here. Remember, Sky is integrated into Spark's network as well. So you also have one of the largest stablecoins integrated into Spark's platform, which is massive, very, very huge. And it's actually leapfrog DAI, USDC1, which is the Trump family's stablecoin as well, PayPal. You also have Ripple USD down here. So you have a lot of large entities getting into the space, and you have massive banks like JP Morgan and Fidelity already talking about trying to create their own stablecoin and their own sort of blockchain, which isn't really blockchain, but we're not going to get into that today. But the point is that you have all these massive institutions and entities talking about stablecoins and investing in the foundation and the structure of stablecoins. Not to mention, you also have the stablecoin bill that was passed recently. I think that we're going to see a shift away from meme coins. Like last year was meme coin year. I think this year is going to be RWA year. And it's only because we have a lot of regulation coming into the space now. So it only makes sense that that's where capital is going to flow first, which is where you should be parking your money first as well. Now, it's crazy to look at the US debt clock, and what I really want to look at is the public national debt up here on the top left-hand corner, okay? $37.2 trillion, and this is only going to continue. So when you talk about any government entity continuously increasing the debt, look, it's going up by the absolute millisecond. You can see it right here. This isn't ever going to stop. There's going to be no other way to facilitate a lot of these US dollars that are being printed into circulation. But one of the short-term fixes will be the use of stablecoins and to bring it globally to make sure that the US can continue to pay off its debts, or its deficits, I should say, because they're never going to really pay off their debt. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I love you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.